we're talking, looked in the basement. We went upstairs in the attic, and I'm noticing that this thing is really put together. We didn't know the history of the house at the time, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, man, this thing, he didn't waste any expense, on lumber. I mean, he really put it together, and it wasn't a waste of lumber. Every step that he did, everything he did was right, but then it was reinforced extra on top of that. I mean, some guys may make a mistake, so they just add another piece to cover the mistake. There was no mistakes made. It was just very well done. Well, even if you look at all the studs in here, it's the same thing. These are all natural 2x4s, native. They're not a 1.5 by 3.5. They're 2x4s. Up in the attic, they're 2x6. Actually, the ones going this way are 2x10s. But and up there in the attic, same thing. I mean, so the house was really, really put together, and the hardwood floors through the whole house. When you walk, you feel it. It's there. We're talking. We're getting interested here. Then we come walking out here to the yard, thinking that this was about it, which we're seeing here, and because there was pine trees right behind the shop here. So when you look in the backyard, you go back about 100 feet, if that, and you've seen a bunch of pine trees sticking up. So you kind of thought that was the end of the property, but it wasn't. Then we started noticing. He says, "Well, this is all part of what? Yeah. Here's an offer. Here's a check." All right. And then we also started finding out a little more about the history, because Chris, I went over to ask him, and even though I only met him once, and he did the work on the van for me, in the interim of me or us buying the house and being here doing a little work on it, I walked over, I was talking to him, and then he started telling me about the history, how the old man and the wife who built the house, they built it themselves. They got married in 60, I think he said, and the father or the grandfather owned a lumber company, and the father owned the property, because this all used to be pig farm. I mean, this whole area. And the father gave him the property, and the grandfather gave him all the materials needed to build the house and the garage. So he and his wife built the garage and the house. All right? And they built the garage first so that they had a place to stay while they built the house, because they both held jobs. I mean, we're talking about working people here. And when they hit, well, he was 94 and she was 97. And they couldn't keep up with the house anymore. So the state put a lien on the house and put him into a convalescent home, which was a nice one up here in Guilford. They just didn't throw him into a state home, so that they had a nice place. And then they took the house, basically for collateral, with a lien. So if it gets sold, they get X amount of dollars out of it. And actually, in the middle of the deal, the wife, 97 years old, passed away. So that put about a 2-week hold on the closing of the house, because things had to be transferred from her, to just him, because it was him and her, not him or her and him. So you always want to make sure you put and or. This here way it covers it both ways. That's if you trust the person you're doing it with. And at that point, we finally bought the house, and everything was fine. But then we started finding out more about the history and all this that I was just telling you. So, but they originally lived in here. When there used to be a wall here. I've said that a few times. There used to be a wall here. That side had countertops, had an old pot-belly wood stove with a squirrel cage up on top of it to blow the heat around. So they used to heat and cook on the pot-belly stove. There was a wall here with a big 4-foot opening with a big piece of plywood used as a door. And this part over here with the concrete floor used to be their living room and bedroom. The sofa would open up into a bed. And they had a little TV in here, a little black and white TV with rabbit ears. That little step over there where the white paint is, that's his paint. But that little place where I keep the microwave, from there to the wall there, I guess it's about 4 feet deep. That used to be closed in, and that was like a big closet. And on the other side was the bathroom. So, and then there was just a little bit of area over there where they had a little round table, about this big around, with 2 chairs, you know, for a kitchen. And they look out the back window in the yard and sit there, and you know, real simple life. And they work their ass off. And, you know, there's still a piece in the basement, a bar that she built. She was 87 or 93. I don't remember. Either or, she was, you know, it was old. She was either 87 or 93. Both numbers are coming up for a reason. While the husband was at work still, and he was, well, if it was 93, she was 3 years older than him, so he was 90. If it was 87, if she was 87, that means he was 84. And he's still working. He still went to work every day. He worked at the bank as a janitor, cleaning up, stuff like that. They just let him work, you know. And she built a bar downstairs. Not they were drinkers, but she wanted to have a lounge and a bar in the basement. So, you know, when friends came over, or if the daughter ever came over with the grandkids, you know, they had this little place downstairs where they can, you know, have their sodas and the adults can have a drink, that type of thing. So she built it. It's still down there. I don't know. I want to take it apart, but I don't, you know. So, but yeah, they were working people, really were. I wish I got to know him more. He actually came down here. Who that? Is that Tuck Tuck? Oh, that's Nicky. Hey, Nick. He actually came down here because when he found out that we were moving in, because Chris used to go and visit him, next thing you know, he had his worker bringing him down. And he came in the house and he's talking to me about how he built the cabinets. And that's just the way he was. I said, well, yeah, I do appreciate it. I said, now keep that in mind. Because I would have had him come down just to get him out of the home and let him work around his house, you know. So, and then I found a bunch of old pictures of him and his wife in the attic. Must have been a pile like this. And apparently he forgot they were there. So I gave him to Chris. I said, Chris, next time you go up, give them to him. You know, because they wouldn't let him have anything. I was going to buy him a new walker and everything, you know, just to buy him something. And they said, don't buy him a new walker. He can't have it. You know, we supply everything. So, all right. You know, but they would let him have his pictures, so we sent the pictures up to him. All right, so where are we? We're getting there. If I stop talking or BSing or whatever it is you want to call it, I see Nicky walk by, so that tells me that the wife should be waddling around someplace. Now I still have a stack of wood here. And I don't want to put it behind anything because I'll forget it's there. And if I do put it over in that corner, I was just looking at it, thinking about putting it right here. Well, you know what? It's really not going to get in the way. Guess there's no reason why I can't put it over there. It's all tall stuff. For the most part, anyway, it's all tall stuff. Like I said, it's really not going to be in the way back here. Of me cutting anything. Yeah, that'll be okay. Because that saw still moves, and it only cuts this way. So that's done. bins. Bins, bins, bins. I'm going to put these out in the other shed. Oh, oh, oh. Who would have thought I had all this room? I never would have thought it. I do have to do something with that corner. I'm going to do that right now. Let me get these out of the way. I'm going to take those out. We're going over there. Over there. Cloth sander. Out of the vise. So anyway, I'm going to go up to the basket tub. Where did this go? Come on, don't be hard. Hold on, I'll talk to you about that. Where did I keep this? Huh. Well, I didn't keep it there. I didn't keep it there. Doesn't have a case, or does it? It does have a case. So I just got to remember where the hell I put the case. Alright, so this is clean. Let me get some rubber. Rubber. take this, take this one, clamp that here. Actually, if we do it this